Recently, we talked about how the death of Belinda Byrd finally got the state to move in and look at Englewood Women's Hospital. Today, we're looking at another Englewood death, one that if they'd addressed might have saved Belinda's life. This is Christina with the Sisyphean Journal, and today is February 2nd. So welcome to the Sisyphean Journal, where we talk about abortion deaths and how they can be prevented. Of course, I prefer to prevent the abortion altogether, but I recognize that sometimes, whether because the woman wants it or because somebody's pressing for it, the abortion ends up happening anyway. So how do we keep quackery out of the equation? And today we are looking at a young woman who just a chain of events led to her death. So Elizabeth was a 21-year-old Cal State student when she went to Planned Parenthood in November of 1977 for an 8-week abortion. Now, she called the clinic afterward to report that her period still hadn't started back up, but they told her that that was normal. It wasn't until February 1st of 1978 that she confirmed that she was still pregnant. At this point, she was 5 months along. And Planned Parenthood referred her to Englewood Hospital. Englewood was sometimes called Englewood Women's Hospital, sometimes Englewood General Hospital, because it was licensed as a general hospital, but actually it was just an abortion hospital. And it already had a bad history. A young woman named Kathy had died of sepsis after an abortion there in 1973. And a young woman named Lynette had died in 1975. Even though a woman who undergoes an abortion, actually not undergoes, if a woman actually has an ectopic pregnancy and she decides on an abortion, she should be more likely to survive the ectopic than a woman who doesn't select an abortion, because when the woman goes in for the abortion, they should be diagnosing where the pregnancy is. Now, granted, this was back in 75, but they still did have ultrasound machines that could be used to determine where the pregnancy was. And also, after you do the abortion, you're supposed to check, do I have all the baby parts? And if you don't, then one of the things you have to suspect is that this might have been an ectopic pregnancy. And unfortunately, Lynette was one of those women where they didn't catch it like they should have, and she ended up dead. Now, still, this is only 2 dead women, so it's not enough to thoroughly discredit a high-volume abortion mill. And I don't know if Planned Parenthood even knew about the deaths before they referred Elizabeth there. So, trusting the referral, Elizabeth packed a nightgown, told her family she was going to a friend's house, and February 1st, went and checked into Englewood. That was the last time her family saw her alive. She underwent the abortion on February 2nd and died that day. And unfortunately, after 2 autopsies, they still weren't able to figure out exactly what caused her death. So Elizabeth was the 3rd woman to die there. It took 2 more, Cora and Belinda, before the state went in and found out that Englewood did things like fill out the post-op report before the woman even went into the recovery room. Doctors were filling out discharge summaries, just standing in one part of the room and looking over, okay, she's in that bed, and rushing up to 100 women a day through the single procedure room. So Kathy, not enough to get their attention. Lynette, not enough to get their attention. Elizabeth, not enough to get their attention. Cora, not enough to get their attention. They waited until Belinda before they went in and saw what a hellhole this was and finally closed it down.